Regular watchers will know that our New Year's resolution was to talk a little bit less about Donald Trump. Well, January's over and we've fallen off the wagon. In at number 3 this week, it's Labour MP Stephen Kinnock, who took inspiration from the suffragettes by going on hunger strike for electoral reform, which is inspiring stuff, until you realise that he only did it for one day. One day of hunger strike is not even remotely comparable to the suffragettes. Fasting for 24 hours is not what you do when you're trying to bring about fundamental democratic change. It's what you do when you're preparing for a colonoscopy. In at number 2 this week, it's the Freemasons who have said that they are victims of discrimination and prejudice, and I'm going to be honest, this is not one of the great civil rights causes.
What do we want? To shake hands in a peculiar way and not tell anyone about it without people thinking that we're weird. When do we want it? That's a secret.
It's hard to see how anybody could discriminate against individual Masons because we don't know who they are. You'd have as much luck trying to discriminate against members of the National Trust. And talking of people with an inexplicable sense of grievance, Donald Trump has finally forced his way onto number 1 of our list just by sheer force of bollocks. Firstly, he said that there was a huge march in London against universal healthcare, when in fact it was very vocally in support of universal healthcare. And this was extraordinary because Trump was such a tosser that he temporarily made Jeremy Hunt look like the good guy. And then, having boasted since before he won the election that the stock market was booming because of him, he fell strangely silent when it had its biggest single day fall ever. Guess what though? He claimed it was the stock market's fault for not paying attention to all of the good news. I mean, yeah, come on shareholders, take one for the team and jump aboard the bullshit bus. And finally, he's asked to have a military parade because he saw the Bastille Day parade in France last year and said it was one of the best parades he'd ever seen.
And I've seen every kind of parade. I've seen Thanksgiving Day parades, 4th of July, and identity.
El Generalissimo wants this military parade because deploying the Army, Air Force and Navy onto the streets and rivers of Washington is the best way possible of saying, I do not have small hands.